used to have a show where a bit, which literally was apropos of nothing, was you and Michael just throwing pancakes. I mean, it was like the weirdest. If you were not in the comedy community when Hotcakes was running, that show it sounds really weird. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It doesn't.
The tea you are drinking, it is one of my favorite brands. It is Rishi tea. Yeah. It is a raspberry green tea. So it is a delicious green tea, which has some freeze-dried raspberry in it. So it adds a little bit of tart, which I absolutely love. I typically recommend this to people who like, and I'm not knocking what I'm about to say at all, but people who like drink like Celestial Seasonings, Raspberry Zinger. I'm like, that's a fine tea. If you want to potentially like step it up a hint, this is like a good bridge tea. It's like Rishi's Raspberry Green is like an easy way to get in. What's interesting about Rishi, for anyone who's steeping this at home, is Rishi does often by tablespoon, not by teaspoon. So this is 1 tablespoon per 8 ounces. But for everybody at home, just know it's a green tea. So brewing at 180 and steeping 3 to 4 minutes. So there you go. So steep with us.
I like that. If you want to grow up, get on the Rishi tea.
I want to pull away a little bit of the snootiness away from tea, because I think a lot of people don't drink tea because they're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about tea. And I don't want to, screw it up or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, this is not like drinking wine or like buying fancy watches. Like, tea is a very normal drink.
Yeah, I wonder what that is, because like a lot of Eastern cultures, tea is the go-to. There's no like coffee situation.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's a cultural thing more than snooty thing.
You're a good person to talk to about this. Like, one of the things that I think I like vibed with you right off the bat was that you were a comedian, very funny, by the way, very funny.
Thank you.
But also, I think we quickly discovered that we both were big fans of jazz music. Mm-hmm. And I was a jazz studies and performance minor in college. I played jazz guitar for like 15 years.
I'm curious, and I think we've talked about this, like how the training in music affects and helps training and performance in like comedy. In the sense of understanding timing, understanding tension and release, resolution. And maybe I'm giving it too much credit, but I've always thought there's a really strong connection between the two.
I completely agree. I'll tell you where my mind first went. I think everything you said is right. This is about to get very musical theory based. So I'm apologizing to anyone who doesn't want to hear this. When you take earlier music theory-based composition classes, a lot of times what you will do is, and one or the other would come first, but sometimes what you would do is build out your chords and your chord structures across, and then you would build your melody, or you'd build a melodic motif and then build the chords in such a way that it fits in a really nice chord progression. So that is how you would do those things. Sometimes what I think about when I'm doing stand-up comedy,
I like where you're going,
is either I'm creating a melody and then I'm trying to figure out what are the chords, what are the themes. By chords, I mean, what are the themes? What are the feelings that I'm trying to evoke? What are all those other pieces of each individual part of this joke that I'm trying to imbue into what I'm saying? It's either that, or I have the chords, I have the theme, the idea, and the feeling. I want to find the right words, which are my melody. I want to find the right words that are going to hit, that there's not a lot of dissonance, that it's beautiful, it's harmonic, and it makes sense to audiences. I do think about that.
Yeah. And depending on how you adjust the context of what the joke exists in, that changes the effect that it has on the listener.
100%.
It's like such a fascinating thing. I think comedy and music are interesting in that I think they're one of the few things that while you're doing it, you're using both sides of your brain. There's a logic and an emotion part involved, and it's clicking on all cylinders as you're doing it. And it's like, it's crazy, man. It's really cool.
I'm trying to remember from you, and I don't want to like make you talk about your whole bio, but I feel like you've always been a musician, but I've always known you as a comic. Kind of what came first for you, and also which of those things brought you to Los Angeles?
So my parents started me on violin, like Suzuki method, when I was like 4.
I don't know Suzuki method. What's Suzuki method?
It's this great method of kind of ear training and like teaching classical music to kids at an early age through like listening. Now they gave you a book which had everything written out, so you could like I was a better reader than my ear was at the time, so I could just read. Yeah, and you read and you learn. I mean, you learn Mozart, Brahms, Bach. Like it's all great classical music literature. But like, yeah, that was how I started, and so I did that my whole life, and I went to undergrad originally for jazz studies, and then that didn't work out for me at the time, and then that's when I got into comedy. Like I loved comedy growing up. I loved stand up. I would listen to stand up going to bed like for years. Just there's something very soothing about I think laughter. And so I remember that time came where like I had stopped playing music. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I was like, I have nothing. Yeah, just whatever. So I signed up for an open mic at college, and then I actually went more the improv route for a few years, and then after college, I got into stand-up. That's what took me back to LA.
You said you were doing jazz undergrad and it didn't work out. Did the studies not work out and you kept playing, or did you stop playing for a bit?
Dude, I didn't touch my horn for like a full year and a half.
Interesting.
It was a big ego death. It was a big, like, the way that it all happened was I just had some teachers that were very, like, discouraging. That's what kind of killed it for me at the time. But there's also a big, like, I think the ego death was probably the biggest part of it.
By the way, like I can't help but think about Whiplash right now, but which was like real to me. I had those.
Yeah, definitely. Those are all coffee drinkers in that movie.
I had this teacher named Bill Lenahan, and I remember senior year, I came in one day to his office. We were supposed to have like an independent work study on guitar because I had to prepare for a final performance.
Yeah,
which like whatever. And I came in, and it was toward the very beginning of the second semester, and I go, not feeling it. And he goes, what? And I go, yeah, I'm just like not particularly feeling this at the moment.
You said that to him?
I did.
That's very impressive. As a, 19-year-old?
Some like, probably closer to like 20, 21, but 21,
like. Yeah. That's incredible you said that.
So do you know what he said to me? This is the example of a very different, a rare teacher.
Uh-huh.
He goes, what are you interested in right now? I said, songwriting. I really like songwriting a lot. I've been writing a lot of music. He goes, okay. So here's what I want you to do. We're supposed to meet next week. I want you to come back with 10 songs by other people that you wish you'd written.
Oh, that's great.
And I was like, okay. And so I brought back 10 songs. I can't remember all of them, but like Michael Jackson's Working Day and Night was in there. Signed, Sealed, Delivered was in there.
Wow.
He listens to them all and he goes, by the end of this hour, I can show you why you chose these.
Wow.
And
That's
then
cool.
we did it, and we spent the rest of the semester. I would bring songs in, we would break them down to the basics of the actual like musical structures and music theory behind a lot of these things, and then apply it to my playing. It made me a better musician. It made me a better student. It made me a better comic. It made me more patient in general. I mean, it was amazing.
That sounds life-changing. I mean, and I think because you were wanting to learn those things, the thing that went south with me, I mean, that's the right way to teach, right? Is to ask the student, what do you want out of this? And then form the game plan. I had a situation where my private lessons, and I don't even want to say his name because I feel like, I don't know. He still teaches there, I think. And it was just this thing about practice. I'd come in, he'd be like, yeah, man, you sound like shit. You sound like shit every week. And this is every week for the whole semester, for the whole year. And it was just such a it was like, man, and then I've had amazing teachers who have since then been like, okay, what do you want to learn? And then it makes it fun. That's what makes it fun. You know, and I think those same things apply to comedy. You know, when you start and there are like these rules. Oh, this is how you get ahead. Oh man, you got to go hang here and blah 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 blah, do that and talk to this person because they'll get you on the thing. At a certain point, you just end up doing what you want to do, and it makes it so much better. You meet people that are also like-minded, that are also doing similar things. That's what it's about.
That brings me to a different topic for you.
Okay.
I think that a lot of people were thinking about obligation coming out of COVID, comedy-wise.
Mm-hmm,
okay? Oh, there's so much pressure. I got to do this. I got to hit more mics. I got to hit more shows. I got to grind. I got to hit the road. A lot of us have been doing road stuff. I got to go do that. You make an announcement. You were leaving LA to go to New York to continue your studies in music.
Yeah, yeah.
I did not have the words at the time. I think I probably congratulated you, but I did not have the words at the time to tell you how inspiring that was to me.
Wow.
Because I turned to my girlfriend and I said to her, it can be very scary sometimes to follow your dreams, and it can feel very lonely. And it feels almost like you're in a dark tunnel. Yep. And when I saw an announcement like what you made, it was like someone turning a flashlight on, being like, you're not next to me, but a flashlight in the tunnel where it goes, hey, I'm also here and I'm trying to figure it out and I'm taking the risk. I'm about 10 feet ahead of you. It's okay. You keep going. It's fine.
Wow.
And it meant a lot to me, even though it wasn't my news.
That's really sweet.
I feel like you should know that sometimes I think that the things that any of us do inspire people beyond what we know.
Yeah.
You know?
Again, that's like really, I did not do it to inspire anyone, but the fact that had that impact on you is like really, that's just touching.
Were you scared?
There's two sides of fear that are like very close. There's like fear, anxiety, and then fear, excitement. And I think I was closer on the air. I was closer on the air of excitement because, so what had happened for me during COVID, I had picked up this loop station.
That was one of my favorite parts of COVID was your loop station. But yeah, go ahead.
Like I had seen this artist, Mark Rebier, who's just incredible. If you don't know, check him out. And I remember seeing his video January 2020, a video of him. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's like a pretty interesting thing. And then I saw it again March 8th, 2020, like 5 days before. Like it really was like, yo, Tom Hanks has it. Rudy Gobert gave it to everybody. Like this shit is real. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
And dude, I was just like, okay, I'm going to get it. I'm going to learn how to use it because I just don't have anything else. And it was this amazing kind of reintroduction of music into this comedy thing that I'd been kind of building. And it just felt like a good marriage between the two and like a way to use all of my skills at once. So, you know, and then also there, you know, I'd spent 6 years in LA and I'd just gone through like a big breakup and yada. Yeah, I was kind of like, I don't know. I felt like I wanted to come out of pandemic with something new and exciting. And it's just been such an incredible experience, man.
It goes that fast?
Yeah. It's already been 2 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It feels like you left yesterday. I mean, that isn't to say that I love that. That came across so wrong. That's like, yeah, I'm so tired of you. It still feels like you're here. No, it feels so recent that you left, and you're almost. And this is a master's, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I could teach. You know, that was kind of the small contingency too. Is like, and this is the other thing too that like I think something really beneficial I've learned here is like I think a lot of artists, comedians will poo-poo like having a day job because like, yo man, if you really grind, you know what I mean, like you're all about it, dude, and there's no sacrifice. And it's like, no, we're in late stage capitalism. Like we also have to pay bills and pay for food, and like you got to get that however you can get that. So that was also kind of a small piece of it too. Going, I was like, okay, I could teach at a college level if I have my master's.
You mean all those stand-up clips we post aren't paying the bills? That's so surprising to hear.
Dude, I saw somebody tweeted like they had a 7 million view like clip on TikTok, paid out $3.35.
Yep. I'm gonna take us to our first segment. Our first segment is called The Newly Friend Game.
Oh.
It's like the Newlywed Game, but we're friends. Though I feel like you'd be a nice person to be married to for anyone who's out
we
there.
Would probably have like a great, like, you and I would have a pretty productive marriage.
100%.
And respectful.
And I also feel like you're very supportive. So the Newly Friend Game, typically what I do is I will ask you a question. We both write our answers down, flip our board, see if we're right. We're still going to take turns, but you and I are going to answer the same question.
Okay.
Your question, who is your favorite jazz artist of all time? Don't say it, just write it down. Oh, this is really I'm between two for you.
I am between like several right now.
Okay, you ready to flip your board on 3?
Oh, hang on.
Okay, I'm holding.
Hang on. This is, okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Flip your board on 1, 2, 3. Oh.
Yeah.
Great choices.
Thank you.
So Neel wrote Grover Washington Jr. was his primary. His second was Pharoah Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guessed John Coltrane.
Which is like, you're not wrong.
Well, I clearly am.
But you know what I mean? It's like, you can't, I can't deny Train.
Well, so and my secondary guess for those at home who are not watching but listening, my second guess was Charlie Parker.
Of course.
I guessed Coltrane because you are someone, and I could be reading you wrong, so I'm very open to that. You are someone who, in my eyes, appreciates cultural and historical impact.
Yeah.
And to me, what Coltrane did as far as Giant Steps goes, among a variety of other things, like playing those, like having those modular changes, like that kind of, the impact of that. I mean, Miles Davis also had massive impact like that, as did people like Chick Corea. I mean, the list goes on. But I do think that Coltrane's Giant Steps, I thought, was impactful enough that you might choose it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like modern jazz is pretty much like what Coltrane did on that album. You know what though? I will say like this particular program that I'm in right now has really expanded my like. I'm not a huge fan anymore of like super burning like straight ahead jazz.
Tell me more about what you mean by that.
So like Train being the genesis point of that, I have no problem with listening to him, but to see where that language has gotten to today and to see the amount of younger players that play pretty much the same way that Train played or Michael Brecker played in the 60s and 70s and 80s, it's like I don't feel as though it's being pushed forward enough. And so that's why people like Pharoah Sanders particularly, where it's like you don't necessarily consider him like one of the, unless you know.
I've never heard him. I've never heard of Pharoah Sanders.
Oh, okay, I'll send you stuff after this.
Please.
It is the most beautiful, like, his sound is so big, his melodies are very simple, and there's so much passion and soul in what he does. But, you know, if you're like a jazz nerd, you're like, well, what is he? Man, he's not really, you know what I mean? He's not really playing the changes, blah, blue. Here's his pentatonic. And, like, I'm sure Sanders could play like that, but like
I have no problem when people play pentatonic scales. I have no issue with that whatsoever. For those that are not musicians, by the way, they're very lost on this, but all you need to know truly is you can play all the notes in a scale when you're soloing in the key or across changes, or you can do a simplified version of that, which is not better, worse, or otherwise. It's just different. It sounds different. Some people would argue it has less color. I think it's just as interesting. I have no problem with it.
Yeah. And I mean, because we are trying to sing through our instruments, right? Ultimately, just express ourselves. So my jazz education, like particularly like undergrad, it was very like, who can play the fastest, who can play the hardest changes, and who can play like, you know, and it's just, that wasn't for me. And maybe it's just my brain couldn't keep up. What I've found is like there's so much density in simple phrases and maybe just simple melodies. So that's why I picked these two. Like Grover Washington Jr. Ugh.
I love when someone's so good you're disgusted by it. Like, oh. I was out to eat the other night and had this I don't typically enjoy. Well, this is going to be super controversial. It's almost not worth even saying out loud.
No, go.
If I'm ranking like desserts, cookies are the bottom for me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I had a cookie that was so good the other day that I literally did this. I go, oh, stop. It's not worth. Stop. Just get it. Go. And Jess goes, do you not like it? I go, no. It's like cookies shouldn't be that good. Just like take it, go, just like leave. Like I don't actually want to. I mean, I'm gonna eat the rest, but like I almost don't want to because I'm like, well, this screwed cookies for me forever. What am I gonna
like upset your worldview?
I'm sitting there being like, I have a new take on the Israel-Palestine conflict. Like I just changed my worldview. But no, it was like that. But I totally get what you mean.
Yeah. So anyway,
all right. Are you ready for mine?
Let's go.
So don't say it out loud.
Right.
I want to be clear. My answer to this question changes on a somewhat regular basis. So it's a little tough for me to pin down, but I am going to answer it because I think that's only fair. Who is my favorite jazz musician? All right. Flip your boards on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so oh, wow. Okay, so Neel guessed Pat Metheny and Kurt Rosenwinkel. Pat Metheny is one of my favorites. Kurt, I have listened to a little bit, not a lot. I wrote down for the listeners at home, my primary is actually Louis Armstrong.
Sure.
And my second is Sonny Rollins.
I mean, two giants.
Well, so here's what's funny. I didn't want to say anything because we hadn't done mine yet. But
Sonny Rollins, yeah.
When you were talking about how when you're improvising, your instrument should be your voice. These two people, very specifically Louis, but both of them,
yes,
know how to use their instrument as a voice that sounds like it is speaking to you. And
in such a palatable, joyous way. I would say both of them. Like
there is a live version. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you. There's a live and if listeners, if I find it, I'll definitely post it. It's very hard to find. There's a live version that Louis Armstrong did a performance of the song Dinah.
Oh wow!
His trumpet solo on Dinah is one of my favorite solos ever because it almost sounds like a conversation. It hits for me. Yeah. And then saxophone Colossus is one of the greatest things in the entire world.
Absolutely. And Sonny Rollins, like, I believe still around. I don't know if he's playing anymore.
I couldn't even answer that.
Yeah, but I was going to put, I thought of him, I thought of Joe Henderson as well.
Well, the fact that you put Metheny is mind-boggling because I love Pat Metheny.
Yeah. Well, I figured guitar players.
yeah. That was a good guess.
There's no way. Are you familiar with Bill Frisell as well?
No.
Okay. I have things to send you. I will send them to you.
You know what? You're not going to remember this. I know that, but there was one time you sent me I think we were talking about something and you go, have you heard this? And I said no, and you sent it to me and I loved it.
Oh.
And I added it to a playlist because it was great.
Great. I don't remember that. You're right.
I knew you wouldn't. Well, I mean, but the thing, you lead, and please tell me if you disagree.
Sure.
You almost lead a double life community-wise because you're in the music community and you're in the comedy community. So I'm not going to expect you to remember, like, well, I probably sent this comedy clip to a musician and this musical clip to a comedian. What did I do?
Can I tell you, this is like maybe one of the greater, I don't want to say existential problems, and it's not a problem at all, but just one of my wonderings of like, which am I? Which of these communities, and does it have to be one or the other? And I think that's the answer, is that it's all of it and everything. But like, there are times when I'm like being particularly hard on myself and like anxious, where I'm like, just pick one, just pick a thing, and stick with it. And it's that's a hard thing. I feel like even as we all become more multi-talented, multi-hyphenate, like,
ugh, what a phrase.
It's kind of hard sometimes to be like, there is a clear focus, and that is self-actualization, but like, it's hard to understand exactly how you're going to get there. You know what I mean? And TikTok clips are the way.
TikTok's making the world better. You know that?
Yeah, my bad. I must have missed that one.
If you are not getting satisfaction from posting social clips, for you, Don't do it because it has not fundamentally changed anything that I do. It has not fundamentally impacted the number of followers I have.
Right.
Kind of nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
I'm very blessed. All the opportunities I've gotten have just been from relationships.
Sure.
Friends. People that see you do a thing live and they're like, yo, come do a thing on the other thing. And not much has come from posting for me as well. And I think that is the hard thing, is that when you start, you see the people that do well. And first, so many friends of ours that are doing well. I consider you somebody that's doing well with social media and all that.
Oh,
and like,
thank you.
But that's why it's such an enlightening conversation to hear about this from you. Like, we see that end of it and we're like, oh, they're doing well. But it's extremely difficult to capitalize that into opportunity. It's a very weird new thing that we're all in right now. And it's hard to navigate. But there's still the methods that have been tried and true for a long time, which is like, we're both lucky enough to be in New York and in Los Angeles. It's like, go out. Go outside.
I thought you were about to say we're both lucky enough to be in New York. And I was like, Neel, I really don't want to be the one to break this to you. I didn't come with you. I'm still over here.
Listen, if you live in Omaha or Butte.
What was the second one you said?
Butte, North Dakota, I think.
I genuinely don't think that's a place. I think you're lying.
I think I may have made that up. But
someone also tried to convince me once that Wyoming wasn't real. And I got to tell you, not that I believed it, but there's definitely a part of me that goes, that's an interesting argument. They go, have you ever been to Wyoming? I was like, no. They're like, have you ever met someone who's been to Wyoming? And I was like, I guess not. And they're like, so what basis do you have to believe in Wyoming? And I was like,
maps.
I was going to say, like, I guess word of mouth. like, people have talked about it. I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's a lie.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Anyway.
Wyoming? Why?
That's my question. It's not Wyoming. It's Wyoming.
And
I ask that every day.
Yeah. To people, to Hindus that pray. Why are you oming? Okay.
Why are you oming?
But anyway, all that to say, we just have to all prepare ourselves for the fact that there's going to be people that are ahead and people that are more in the middle class. Like, and that's fine and great. Just find, as you were saying, find what makes you feel fulfilled and happy, and that's it.
Here's what's weird about me. Let's get into some jokes.
I was gonna say, are you just gonna do your set right now? Here's a weird thing about me.
Yeah. What's the deal? A lot of comedians will like go to an open mic and be like, I wrote these 4 new jokes. I'm gonna mix in some old stuff with some new stuff. I'm gonna vibe it out.
Right.
I write 10 minutes at a time and go do that.
Really?
Yeah.
And do you scrap the other 10? Like, does it make sense?
Well, I'll maybe use an opener that's a minute long from a previous 10 to intro it, and then come right in and go, and then build and craft and go from and polish and remove and remove around and all that other stuff. But that's how I do it, and so it's always weird for me to think about how, like, when you were just saying, like, do what's going to make you happy. I don't get more joy from anything in the world than I do from getting a brand new chunk and then eating shit for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Have you ever done the Rec Room in Huntington Beach?
No, I haven't. That room, I've only seen amazing things from there.
Okay. Let me tell you something. This is not true for everybody, but it's true for me. That room has become my litmus test. When I brought the 10 minutes there, I was doing like a 15-minute set. I did the 10 minutes.
Yeah. And
it went like this, okay? For the listeners at home, I'm drawing a graph of a line going up and then a steep crash.
Ooh, yeah.
And then the line went up and a steeper crash.
Wow.
And then the line leveled out. And do you know Kazim Rahman?
I love Kazim. Yes.
Yeah, Kazim's the best. So Kazim was in the back, and I go to Kazim, and I literally just said this. I go, woof. And he goes, what do you mean? It was a good set. And I go, oh, you don't have to good set me. Like, it wasn't.
Right.
And he goes, the jokes are there, but 21-year-olds don't want to hear about, because I was doing a set about death, cancer, car accidents, trauma.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he goes, 21-year-olds don't want to hear this. And I said to him, I was like, I need to find a way to make this bulletproof. I need to find a way to make it so a 21-year-old does want to hear this.
Right.
So then I went back. I went back to LA, and I went to San Diego. I took it to San Francisco, Chicago, and so kept messing around with it, and then went back to Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
About 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This time, other than 2 sections, it killed. It went great because I've discovered that room is the one place where if it's not bulletproof, it dies.
And was it roughly the same demo? Like
same demo? Yes. Same jokes?
Okay.
No.
Oh, interesting. Were you doing a different 10 entirely? What was the...
No. It was the same 10, but like I'll give you a really good example. There was a part that died, and I was like, why did this die? And I go, oh, I mention in that joke that my father was sick. And I was like, oh, this part isn't working because the audience is trying to figure out, did he survive or not? So they're not paying attention to anything I say after that. So I then changed the joke where I immediately say, he got sick, here's what happened. In one sentence.
Right.
He got sick, and then this happened, and now we're here.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, people started paying attention to the next punchline because they weren't trying to figure out what the next part of the story was.
Well, and too, there are some pieces that like can I don't know. I've had this sensation too where you say something that is going to set up the funny, but it's a little too real, and it kind of disengages the audience because they're not in this fun, excited, entertain me thing. They're like, is this person okay thing? The
worst thing is an awe. I don't want an awe ever.
I know. And you know what? I hear you on that. And then I also, if you can pivot that awe and it just hammers. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's right or wrong, but I hear you on that. It sucks to hear when you don't mean to elicit that reaction.
Yeah, you mean like when I was like, I don't like looking at my body in the mirror, and everyone's like, oh.
Yeah.
No, I would never say that. Not that I love it or hate it. I'm indifferent to my own body.
Yeah. I was in my brain hoping that you were like, oh man, this just didn't work in front of 21-year-olds, so I went on the road, blah, 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 blah. And then just like kind of a montage of you slowly just like putting on like a backwards hat for your set. Sunglasses.
Where
you
are
come
the
up
other
like
kids?
on a
I'm
bird.
in high school.
Come on a bird scooter on stage.
That's how I do the joke now. 100%. By the way, that shows how old we are that you think kids still use bird scooters. I think that.
What do they use? What do they use now?
They don't use fidget spinners either. I don't know what they use now.
I mean, they're not playing Bop It?
Yeah, I'm still with Beanie Babies. What are we doing? I still have my Princess Diana Beanie Baby.
I'm sorry. What?
There was a famous Beanie Baby.
No.
I believe it was still an animal, but it was like based on Princess Diana, I think.
That's fucking weird. What if they made it a rat? It was like made by the queen?
Not. If you want to Google Beanie Baby Princess Diana, I could swear to you there was a Princess Diana-esque Beanie Baby.
Wow.
Hold on. There's a
chat. The chat. There's that notification, baby.
Wait a minute. It's a link. He didn't write it. Okay. It's a Princess Diana Beanie Baby.
Wow.
It is just a purple bear.
It's a purple bear. Let's get that straight.
Apparently it's Princess Diana themed. I don't know.
Buddy, do you still have yours, by the way?
I think it's in my mom's house somewhere.
It's going for $14,000 on eBay.
Oh, no, I don't have the Princess Diana one.
Oh.
No, I have like the monkey.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's going for 5 cents.
No. Here's the thing: you need to pay someone to take it. That's how low that price is.
That's nuts. Okay.
Anyway. On the Beanie Baby front, I'm gonna take us to our second segment, which is called "Teach Me Something."
Great segue.
Almost everyone in my life says I have a lot to learn. This is an opportunity for you to fix that for me. It could be 5 seconds. It could take 5 minutes. Preferably not that long because I don't have that long of an attention span.
Right.
But my man, teach me whatever you want.
Do you know the Godzilla franchise?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm familiar enough. I've not seen most of them, but
sure. So originally, that was created in Japan as an allegory for the nuclear attacks. Godzilla was the monstrous threat, the existential threat to all of society. And there's actually a whole genre of monster films from Japan at that time, which are all in response to that horrible attack on Japan.
Are you serious?
And listen, I had a more fun one. I had a more fun one.
Oh, yeah? You didn't think the allegory about bombing Japan was fun? Oh! Wow. I mean, I'm shocked, frankly. I thought that was the most fun one we could do. I mean, how could you get more fun than that? I don't know. I feel like it's more of like your more fun one was like, did you know chocolate chips are made? And then you're just like, no, let me go bombing Japan. What do I have that's Hiroshima related for Josh? Let's see.
You need to take this guy down a peg. He seems too chipper.
Which, by the way, is thematic because we were drinking a Japanese green tea. But oh my God!
See, that's what happened. And green, the color of radioactive waste.
Neel, he's going in. He's gone in harder. You're tripling down, is what you're doing. Steep Conversations doesn't have to enlighten, or sorry, not enlighten, lighten people's days. It does have to enlighten them. It doesn't have to lighten people's days.
Well, and steep is you're soaking and down.
It's soaking down. It's soaking down is what it is.
It's Mormon sex ed. Is actually what I'm doing.
Oh, it's soaking. Yeah. Oh my. You know what? I don't remember when I learned about that. I thought it was a lie. Apparently, it's not.
No, I think I also thought it was a lie because it's like, how could you have that much have so little control and then have so much control at the same time?
Yeah, and also like, how does that not count? That clearly counts.
Penetrative. I don't know.
That's like if someone was like, all right, I'm not eating cookies. Now what I do is I chew them and I let them sit in my mouth for an hour. And I might accidentally swallow some, I don't know. And then I spit it out. I didn't eat the cookie. I'm like, oh, what did you do? Mm-hmm. Talk to me about what was happening.
Yeah.
I soaked it.
I soaked the cookie in my mouth. And then I went home and I
grossest phrase.
And I jerked off. That was
no. Well, no, I do that. I don't go home. You don't. I was in this. I told you. I thought the cookie was so good. I just finished it there. That's what I did. I loved it. I was a diehard fan of that cookie. And I don't like cookies.
I want to know your dessert hierarchy.
Oh no.
Because I know this was something we bonded over. Is like you are a big foodie. You are very particular about your food, what you like. So what's your dessert hierarchy?
Okay. And I want to be clear for everyone out there. When you say foodie, which I don't disagree with, but when you say foodie, I'm not the person who's like, oh, I need a truffle shaved on top of my blood. No. It's I know how I like food. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I know how I like stuff and I want it how I like it. And sometimes and here's the other thing. This is a huge thing. This makes me old. I don't care. Sometimes people are like, hey, do you want to go to dinner? I have a reservation at 9. I was like, no. I don't want to eat dinner at 9 p.m. That's not me. I don't like that. I don't want to do it.
I love that.
You're particular. Eat at 5:30.
Okay, that's aging you a little bit there.
But I'm saying too early versus too late. I'd rather eat too early.
Okay, got you. Let's start at the bottom and go up.
Yeah, so cookies are definitely at the bottom.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? No, sorry. I don't know if we're counting this as a dessert. Anything that moves after you touch it. So Jell-O, flan, any of those things, that's the rock bottom for me.
I can't disagree with you fully on that.
Yucky. It's yucky.
Yeah. Like cake, like rum cake, I feel like is in that in-between space. But no, forget it.
If you offered me rum cake or said you just want some warm water, I might choose the water. Just being honest. I'm going to go back to the top of the list because it's easier, I think, to work top down. Pie's my number one.
Love that.
This is bold. This is daring. This is controversial. I'm taking ice cream at the 2.
Okay. I think that's fair.
A lot of people hate it.
Hate ice cream?
No, hate the fact that I put it at the 2.
Above what? Cake?
Yeah.
I mean, cake is just dry ice cream.
Okay, so let me tell you something. That's so every Wednesday for this podcast, we release a quote from our guest.
I love that.
And your quote is undoubtedly Cake is just dry ice cream. And then under it, it says, I brought up Godzilla because it's about the Hiroshima bombings. And that's your whole quote. That's the whole thing. And here's the thing. People don't need to know they weren't said together. They're right next to each other in that quote.
I love it. That sums up this conversation perfectly.
100%. Okay, let me run through the rest of this hierarchy. I want to hear yours, then we're going to go to the lightning round.
Come on, baby. We're going to...
Okay. So, pie, ice cream, maybe like a cheesecake.
Okay.
Cupcakes.
Okay. Cupcakes, I will say, are my bottom.
Interesting. I put cupcake above cake.
Makes no sense, but okay.
But honestly, neither one is blowing me away.
They're the same. One's just in a cup.
Yeah, but I like the fact that I can pick one up. I can't pick up a piece of cake.
It's true.
And then what's after that? Brownies? I don't know.
I was like the candy, where?
Oh, I don't count candy as desserts.
I see. You're like delectable. What about can I ask like a churro or something? Kind of a warm pastry situation.
Here's what's interesting. I like a churro, but let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Could 5 of the 7 nights of the week could you eat a churro for dessert and be like, yeah, I keep wanting this?
No.
But I could do that with ice cream.
Wow. And I think that's the litmus.
Yeah.
That's the litmus.
Salt and straw is my favorite ice cream. I could do that with
I know you love salt and straw, buddy.
Let me tell you something. The day that they sponsor this podcast, I'm quitting.
I was going to say, it's the day you stop. Hang it up. Put the jersey up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, my jersey's going to go up in the salt and straw rafters. That I guarantee. Number 11. As the kid who never played sports, being in the ice cream rafters is the only thing that makes sense. What is your dessert hierarchy before we get to the lightning round?
Sure. I can only say that anything with frosting is at the bottom of my list.
Oh, wow. That's a controversial take, but it's a take I don't mind that take.
Yeah, it's too, the concentration of sugar and it's like thick sugar and it's wet. I don't need it. I feel like a cake can speak on its own.
Yeah, I have no problem with that take.
Okay. So that's pretty much it. Honestly,
what's your number 1?
My top dessert is probably something like a chocolate, cake or something. No frosting. Just like a nice chocolate cake. What is a chocolate cake without, what if there's frosting between the Yeah, that's things? Okay. I'm okay with that. I'm talking cupcake frosting. Where it's
You're
just
talking about when something is so over frosted that 90% of what's in your mouth is frosting.
It's frosting.
10% is cake.
When you have to take that first bite and it's just frosting, go to hell.
If you have to take a bite where you risk getting frosting on your nose because the frosting is so high, that's a bad cupcake.
Yeah, it's racist.
Yeah, it's racist against the Japanese people, I think. Is what you're phrasing it.
No, my fun fact was racist against.
Yeah, your fun fact. Well, listen, I don't want to say anything, but we have 7 groups. We haven't released this podcast. 7 groups have called my cell phone since this started, being like, cancel Neel Ghosh. They've said that.
Wow.
I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. When I say groups, I meant like human rights groups, not the Yakuza. But maybe they're back here too. I don't know.
Oh, speaking of, real quick.
Hit me. Oh my God, I cannot wait to hear how you're going to relate this. Go ahead.
No, best dessert. There is a Japanese restaurant in LA. Oh fuck, it's on Wilshire. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, Wilshire literally goes from Santa Monica downtown, so no, I don't know what you're talking about.
They have these little sesame seed bars, and it's like a little cake that's like a sesame seed cake. Oh, fantastic! I love a dessert.
You gotta send that to me.
I sent this to somebody very recently, so I'm gonna find it and send it to you.
I'm sorry, you text other people?
I'm sorry. Yuko's Kitchen.
Hold on, I'm writing it down. I mean, listen, I also don't want to say anything because I take a while to text, but I was scared that you were just you changed your number. When I texted you didn't respond. I was like, I thought we're on a text basis. Apparently not.
No. I just ignored you.
That's fine. If you would just, that's fine. Now that I know that's fine.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I love being ignored. Trust me, I'm in a relationship. What's the point? Okay, I'm taking us to our final segment.
Take it.
It is called the lightning round. 5 questions. It's called lightning because they're fast questions. They don't have to be fast answers. So all good. Do what you need. I keep it on an index card because I feel like I'm like a late night talk show host. what is a favorite ritual of yours? So like mine is brewing tea. What's a favorite ritual of yours?
Oh, this is a good one. Long tones. I love doing long tones on my horn.
You're talking about playing.
Playing, yes.
Okay, lovely.
That's one. Or my initial gut reaction was like face, like that ritual in the morning of like face washing and cleaning.
Not enough can be said about that, about a skincare regimen and how it makes you feel.
Especially for comedians.
I mean, yeah, we're leathery faced, scary. We're monsters.
Criminals.
Yeah, I was going to say criminals and I didn't say it.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, we're in sync. Okay, question number 2. Running bit with a friend or partner that makes you laugh.
Right now, me and my girlfriend have this bit where we like talk like Jennifer Coolidge to each other.
Oh my God, please give me a little.
Well, just like, oh, this is just so exciting. And wow, everything's just so amazing. Wow. She does it like much better than I. She actually is rather natural. Wow. And then we're kind of in an Owen Wilson space. But
I accidentally Owen Wilson does.
But those two doppelgangers?
They are. They're brother and sister. By the way, a funny bit when I was describing you to someone the other day, I was like, yeah, I'm doing an episode with a buddy of mine. And I was trying to explain how I first met you. Speaking of running bits, I said you used to have a show where a bit, which literally was apropos of nothing, was you and Michael just throwing pancakes. I mean, it was like the weirdest. I tried to explain it to someone, and you have to understand, if you were not in the comedy community when Hotcakes was running, that show it sounds really weird. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It doesn't. And I'll tell you, that show started with, we had my buddy Ben, he would come and make pancakes, and then as it went, we would just go to
McDonald's pancakes.
Yes. Then it just became go to McDonald's, order 20 pancakes at 7 p.m. and just frisbee them into the audience.
I know. Which, by the way, you had much more fervor for. Michael was a little lighter on the toss. You were like, pew.
Yeah. But Michael knew he was going places.
Oh, yeah. So Michael knew in that moment he was going to be on SNL. He's like, let me throw these pancakes now. Let me get it out of the way now.
What a time. That was a very fun time.
Oh, my God.
I remember, that was a good one.
Question number 3. Can you do an impression of one or both of your parents?
Not really.
No.
I can't really. Both my parents aren't really like generally expressive people.
Oh, that's well, you're giving me an impression of them without doing
I was going to say, maybe me just being like...
If you're listening and not watching, I'm not sure if he's proud of me or disappointed. It looked like in between. Looked like both.
And that's spot on impression.
Okay, good. Great. Question number 4. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, is there a particular moment that rings for you?
Buddy, how much time do we have?
No, you know what? We're doing a bonus episode with you called Imposter Syndrome with Neel Ghosh.
I was going to say. All the time. All the time. A lot. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, that is actually something that I am so grateful to have, like, people around me that can reassure me that it's invalid.
No, I think it's completely valid.
Okay, good. Thank you. I needed to hear that. So much of what we do is taking those like 10 years or so. Some people get there a lot quicker, but like that time to figure out what you're doing that's you, that isn't, you're a slight impression of your favorite artist or comic or whatever. And that just takes time. And I think along that journey, there's a lot of like, you'll get love for something and you'll be like, ugh, it is kind of just this,
I don't know. Explain to me what you mean by that. I don't know if I understand that.
Well, like,
I don't get love for anything. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That let's say you're transcribing a solo, which if your listeners don't know, it's like when you listen to a solo and then you learn it on your instrument and then you're able to play it. Sometimes you write it down if that's part of your assignment, but then you'll use a piece of that vocabulary in a solo or in a song. Like, let's say you compose a song that uses something from that and you're like, people are like, wow, I really love that thing in there as well. But you're like, it was just Wayne Shorter. Then I'm like, God, do I have anything to say that's not taken or inspired by something else?
Good artists are influenced. Great artists steal. I love John Mayer as a guitarist. Incredible guitarist, incredible soloist. However, anyone who's listening to him, if you can't figure out that, like, if you can't hear Stevie Ray Vaughan, if you can't hear Freddie King and Albert King, like all of those licks hiding in his phrasings, you should go back because they're all there.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That
and
doesn't
that's
make
the
him.
thing. It's fine. It's fine. And I think like I don't give myself enough credit for like being the vessel that combines the different inspirations. Right?
I've always viewed you as a vessel.
But that's the that's the part where that's where the individualism comes in. Is how do you take those inspiration and just by you doing it. But I tell you, man, I will get imposter syndrome a lot. I get it a lot. And that's one of the harder battles.
I heard you were wondering like why I even asked you on this podcast, and honestly, I was wondering too. So that wasn't imposter syndrome. You were right to question it.
It's like, did he want Neel Nanda? I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that's who I was getting. I was like, yeah, who? Wait, you're the no, wrong Neel.
Can I tell you something funny that happened? By the way,
please.
I don't know if it's funny, just like racist, but it's kind of funny.
Oh my! Wow, those are wildly different. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I was playing Morgan J, social media, blah, this whole thing we're talking about. He's doing
I almost brought him up earlier when you were like, am I a musician? Am I a comic? What am I? And I was like, Morgan J. He can be, you can be what you want to be. He's both.
Exactly. And he's crushing it. But so I got to open for him. He did a show here in New York and I got to do my looping thing. It was awesome. So Usama Siddiqui, another great comic, he does stand up after me. So I come and I do music. It's this whole thing. It's so different. Usama, he's a stand-up. So then Morgan's up, he's doing his thing, and this like drunk white woman kind of stumbles back to the bar. She comes up to me and she's like, I loved your joke about the Mexican restaurant. And I was like, what? And she's like, with the thing with the dragons and all that. And I was like, are you talking about the other Indian person that was on the show that looks nothing like me? Clean shaven, different facial, like he's got a very like model-esque, defined bone features, like darker skin, like couldn't look more different than me. And I was like, are you talking about the other Indian person? And then she goes, oh, sorry, my glasses don't work. Huh? Your glasses?
Did you expect her to go, sorry, I'm a racist? Probably not. Probably not.
But own up to it, And this is in Bushwick. This is like you would expect as liberal a place as possible. But it was just such a funny thing of just like going back to the imposter syndrome. It's like, it doesn't matter. Even if you feel like an imposter, you're still just a brown person to some people. You're still just a Jewish man to some people, and it doesn't matter.
Someone literally said to me, they were like, yeah, I've seen some of your clips. You mainly just talk about the fact that you're Jewish, right? And I was like, no, what? I was like, what clips have you seen? I mean, like, it comes up, sure. Yeah. That is like part of my identity, but like...
It's not like your through line.
No, I'm literally doing 10 minutes right now where I don't even mention that word. Like, what?
It's so I got funny, that one, dude.
So I was like, that is
people
bizarre.
Don't... I know, and it's like the depth at which we think of what we do, and then just versus like what generally a person will just see, like brown person.
Yeah,
Jewish.
They point at me and they go, brown person.
Those people need to fix their glasses.
Well, their glasses, here's the thing, they're wearing them. They didn't turn them on. They don't work.
My glasses aren't on. That's funny.
All right, final question for you.
Yeah.
What is your favorite tea? And because you drink tea, I usually say tea or comfort, but you're a tea drinker. What's your favorite tea?
I really like a peach green tea, like an iced peach green tea.
Ooh, any specific brand you want the listeners to go try?
Conjure. No, I actually don't.
That is it, guys. Conjure Tea. ConjureTea.com. Steep15 is the promo code.
I don't. I'm not particular. I'm actually not really deep into like tea brand. I just am kind of like, what's the flavor? Have you heard of this Panera tea that's like has like crack in it? It has like 20 times the amount of caffeine as espresso. Have you seen this?
Are you talking about Panera, like the place
Panera
that makes
bread.
sandwiches?
Yeah. They also sell this iced tea, like lemonade thing, that apparently has 20 times the amount of caffeine as an espresso, and they just sell it open.
I love you're like saying it like there's not black market open. They're selling it.
Yeah. For a price.
No.
Anyway.
I'm scared to try it. I am sensitive to caffeine. So like I had a flat white this morning and I'm drinking green tea with you now, which is, mild, very, very mild caffeine. Yeah. But like, it could affect me. I'll probably be awake later today.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You would absolutely explode then having this drink at Panera.
I can't drink cold brew. I can't drink it. It's too caffeinated.
Yeah. Yeah. That's intense. Anyway, but yes, that's where I'm at. Peach green tea, ice. Iced.
I love it.
Iced.
You know what? For any listeners, go follow Neel, and then if he has his Venmo in one of his accounts, send him some money for a peach green tea.
That'd be so sweet.
That is the episode. That is Steep Conversations. How do you feel? You good?
I feel great, man. I'm so glad I got to sit down and talk to you. It's really been a long time.
I miss you, man. When are you coming back to LA anytime soon?
I will have my PR team take a look.
Yeah, good. All 70 of them. Let me know.
Yeah, it's expensive. I'm quite not sure, man. I think I need to see where opportunities are at once I graduate.
Neel Ghosh, go follow him on social. I love you. I hope I get to see you soon.
I love you too, buddy. Thank you.
That was Neel Ghosh. You can follow him at neel.ghost on Instagram and TikTok, Mr. Neel Ghosh on Twitter, and Neel Ghosh 1150 on YouTube. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping.